I'm here with Justine Taylor, who's just presented a fascinating paper on mutual wills, which has turned out to be, Justine, one of the popular topics for this conference. Can I start by asking you just what the circumstances are in which one ought to consider having a mutual will?
Yes, Rob, there's certainly a lot of hesitation in the room today reading the practitioners towards mutual wills, and they are quite controversial. But in my view, and perhaps I'm more optimistic than some, there are some particular scenarios where mutual wills really ought to be considered. I would think first and foremost where we've got intergenerational wealth, so where one partner perhaps has received wealth from another, and they want to, on the one hand, provide for their spouse or their partner, but on the other hand, they do want to earmark that back to their lineal descendants. Obviously, the most common scenario is the blended family, so where you've got two people who perhaps have children, two other relationships, and societal attitudes are really shifting from that spouse to wanting to preserve wealth for the next generation and for those children. And then there's the third category where I would say you've got a good relationship, and perhaps there's the more conventional family, husband and wife, who really have accumulated their wealth. They're at their late stage in their life, and they're wanting to perhaps guard against when one of them might pass away, that the other would still enjoy the bounty that they've earned together, but of course provide for their children and guard against a repartnership. So they're the three main categories, and of course we have others, including potential contracts with children, where you have a child who's really in a codependent relationship with a parent. So there are scenarios, in my view, that mutual wills have a place.
Why then do you think people are so against this? Practitioners often say that they've never used them, they don't want to use them.
Well, mutual wills are only as good as the party's preparedness to enforce them. And unfortunately, the remedy is by litigation, firstly in establishing a contract, and then looking at equitable principles to enforce those contractual remedies. The remedy is very complicated, and so practitioners know that putting the mutual wills in place is the easy part. Perhaps the drafting of them is the easy part, but the practical reality of implementing them is where we see a lot of difficulty.
Justine, thank you very much. That was fascinating. And if anyone wants to see a little more of what we've been discussing, go to our website. You might find some interesting opportunities there. Justine.